Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me for this quick walkthrough of the English 863 LIB Guide. This is a great resource that you can use throughout the course. It was developed by librarian Cindy Judd, who is just phenomenal at developing these and gathering all of the resources together for students, particularly as it relates to a specific course and those assignments. So I'm going to share my screen with you as we kind of walk through that together. So here's Cindy Judd. And again, remember that you can certainly contact her at any time. If you click this Need Help button, you'll be able to contact her and make an appointment with her if you want more information about the research process. I just want to point to a couple of these other resources, but we're not going to go through them. So citing sources, here's information on MLA and APA, which remember you can use either in this class as long as you're consistent. Here's information about primary sources, secondary sources, and tertiary sources. For the annotated bibliography assignment, you're going to be wanting to focus on secondary peer-reviewed or scholarly sources. Remember that primary sources are the sources that we are reading, for instance, with the autocritigraphical writing. For instance, if you were reading Whereabouts, Wildcart, or Memorial Drive, those are all primary sources. But I want to start here with research and databases. First of all, Cindy Judd gave us this nice little bullet list of how to identify a scholarly article over here on the right-hand side. And so here's just some different information that will help you. One of the things that a lot of times students get mixed up on, and understandably so, is sometimes they use a book review instead of a, because it's in a scholarly source, it's in a journal, but a book review does not provide you an argument with evidence to support that argument in the same way that a secondary article does, a peer-reviewed article. So you're going to want to, if it says W, or it'll say REV sometimes, or review on the left-hand side of that source, you want to avoid those sources. So here's just kind of where to start with a broad brush stroke of research. If you look here, you could go into Google Scholar. I know that a lot of times we think, oh, I'm going to research about writing assessment, and so I'm going to just Google it. But if you do it through this LibGuide and through the EKU libraries, you often have better access. And so let's take a look at that in just a moment. So if I go into Google Scholar and I'm just going to write writing assessment, and this is certainly a very broad term, and I'm just going to pick one here. I'm going to pick this second one, and I have the full PDF to it, and I can click on it, and it will give me the full PDF information for that source. So that is wonderful, and it makes my life easier, right? You can do this here. You can see that this on the right-hand side says find full text at EKU, and it'll just have you click through until you get into JSTOR, because that's where this particular article is housed, and you also will have full access to that. So now what I'm going to do is back up a moment here. Academic Search Ultimate does the same kind of thing. The thing that's interesting about Academic Search Ultimate is you can pick which journals that you want it to come from, or you can choose all the databases. So if you click right here, choose databases, you can select all of them, or you could select certain ones. And so that might help to kind of narrow your search a little bit. JSTOR often has a lot of information on composition and rhetoric studies. They often house that information. They also house historical research and educational research. So you can get those in both ways. MLA International Bibliography is the governing body of English studies, or one of them. It is where we get most of our literary research, but there also is rhetoric and composition research in there at times. And here's some tutorials for using this database as well. And then don't discount these videos below, even though they say finding peer-reviewed articles in education databases. Maybe you only want to find something in composition studies, but remember that composition studies and composition pedagogy, there's a lot of overlaps there. So this may be a really helpful, quick video to watch. And then also historical research using JSTOR database. Just replace that with educational research or with writing pedagogy because JSTOR houses those things as well. So the final thing I want to talk to you about is research in NCTE journals. And NCTE stands for National Council of Teachers of English. And they're kind of, they're also a governing organization, but they're an umbrella organization. They have a lot of journals underneath them. So Cindy, Judd, and I work together to kind of isolate some of the main ones here on the right-hand side that you might be able to use easily for your annotated bibliographies. And they are language arts, which focuses on primarily elementary school ELA. But I think that all of them, even when they focus on a certain grade level, they often apply to other grade levels. I always tell students not to discount something because of that. Voices from the Middle, obviously the title speaks for itself. It looks at middle grades ELA instruction, and then English Journal, which is the secondary or high school ELA instruction. There's the CEA Critic, College Education Association, which is or College English Association, which is also part of NCTE. There's College Composition and Communication. You're familiar with this, particularly the MAEWP folks from Composition Studies, and then Studies in Writing and Rhetoric. And these bottom two often have accessible, so like if you click on this one, 3Cs, I'm gonna refresh in a minute. There it goes. And you scroll down a little bit, excuse me, you can find right here, it says access to 3Cs online. If you click on this, most of them are available. Let me try to highlight that for you. Well, it's not really letting me do that. Hopefully you can see where my mouse is hovering. Most of those then are available online. You can go in here and you can get online open access. So that's really helpful to be able to get into that database that way, or not database, that journal that way. I just want to spend a quick moment talking about how to access information or articles from Language Arts, Voices from the Middle, and English Journal, because it's difficult to do online unless you are a member of NCTE, and it's often difficult to do through a library system. And so Cindy Judd created this great video and these screenshots for walking us through that process of how to access these online. I'm going to kind of illustrate one really quickly. If you click into Language Arts here, notice that I am not going to put anything in the field up above here like I normally would. Instead, I'm going to put it where it says full text. And I'm going to write writing assessment. And I'm going to click enter. And this is going to pull up several articles, and all of these articles are from the Language Arts Journal housed with NCTE. And so this is just a way of kind of streamlining your search when you're researching for this assignment. So I'm going to go back here, all these clickbacks. But I want to get back to here. So I hope you will use and utilize this course guide, because it really helps to it will really help you to navigate the library resources for our course. And it was specifically designed for our course in mind. And so all of those resources will be there to help you. I'm looking forward to finding or to reading about the articles that you select that complicate or expand upon our readings from Naming What We Know. And I'm looking forward to those discussions that develop from those choices as well. So I hope everybody has a good evening, and thank you for joining me on this walkthrough.